guys, we got this. Let's go. Gun white trip sweep. Pros X go. On one. Ready?
Hey.
What's going on, everyone? Ancap24 here from HuddleGG. Today's video, we're going to talk about a tactic that I think can transform your defense, give you a different perspective of how you can take away players on the field, and give you every little detail that you're going to need to know to have success, to understand this concept so you can apply it in game. I'm going to show applications throughout this video. It is going to be a little bit more of a lengthy video, but I do believe that it's very, very important to teach people every little detail about it so you understand how we do things on our website. I don't like to have theories. I don't like to have things that I think that works this way. I need to know, and I'm going to go lab something so thoroughly that I'm going to have all the answers so that it's not by chance that something happens in game. And that's how I like to teach it on the offensive side of the ball and on the defensive side of the ball. Pickham and I go ahead and we lab these things, to the T, and that's what you're going to see on this video. Okay. Now this tactic here is something we kind of talked about a little bit in previous videos, but it's something that we can do at any play, and that's why this is so basically powerful, and why I wanted to kind of bring this to you. Okay, so what we talked about early in the year, they added these things called double bracketing. Okay, and double bracketing is basically two players are assigned to one. They put it in the game. Well, when they put it in the game, that also opened up what I'm going to discuss today. Okay, and I'm going to call this the double manning. Okay, you can think about Peyton and Eli if you want, but manning up a player with two players and what happens and why this is so powerful. Okay, so I'm just going to call a play here. I'll just call cover two, just so you can see that it's just something generic, right? We'll go ahead and call, let me just find Tampa 2. I'm going to call this play Y corner. Okay, now what you need to know about this is the tactic is we're going to man up a certain player you want to take off the field with two people, but it's not that simple. Okay, and so what we're going to do is let's just talk about going ahead and defending this A receiver. Let me just get this to the side so you see a little bit more room here, and this corner route, right? If I was just to go ahead and man up, let's just say the mid read on him, right? And let me just take this guy out of the way so we're just giving you guys the best ability to see this, right? If I was just to go one-on-one with this guy, and you can see here, I'm just manning him up, okay? What you're going to see when you man him up, it's basically going to play a cover 0, right? What I mean by that is that it's not going to be underneath shading like you see in cover 2 man. It's not going to have the shading to where you're basically going to be playing over the top. He basically plays kind of a head on, and he's going to protect himself inside out, okay? That's how cover 0 is like, what, if I'm going to get beat, I'm going to make sure that it's a longer throw. I'm not going to get beat as much to the inside. I'm going to get a little bit more to the outside. So if I do this, what you're going to see is just one-on-one. I'm going to have this A. You can see that he's going to give outside, and you can see that a lot of times, obviously, I got more players over there. It's not really that close. What I mean by that is you can see that you'll get beat by corners all the time because you really don't have a great, manning them up doesn't just do a lot, right? See how he gets a lot of separation, and you're good to go, right? Well, what if we double man him, okay? If I double man him, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this A on him, and I'm also going to put this this other player on him, so it's 2 men, right? Now you look at this and you say, okay, got double man. What does that mean? Well, when you double man somebody, the coding is different, and it's all about the location of your players from the start of the play of how they're going to do it. So I haven't moved anybody, right? So in the start of the play, Ellis is the outside leverage because he's to the right. He's the outside of the receiver, right? If you go ahead and look at it, the player starts on the right side of the ball, so or the right side of the middle of the field. So he's going to have outside leverage. The guy to the inside is going to have inside leverage. Okay, so depending, because these two guys are the guys that are there now. What if I took, Urlacher off of this and I said, you know what, I want to man up Ellis and I want to man up my outside corner on him. Well, I just told you Ellis had outside leverage. Well, guess what? He's no longer going to have outside leverage. He's going to have inside leverage because he is the guy that is the left player here. He's going to have leverage to this side. And this guy, because he's to the outside, is going to have leverage to the right, right? It's basically, you look at these two guys, this guy's going to go left, this guy's going to go right. That's where there's going to be shading, okay? Now, it also works on depth of a player. So let's just say here, let's just take Gonzalez off this. and I say, you know what? I want this guy here. He's going to be, Ellis is going to be one guy. And I'm going to man also up the A to him. What you're going to see is this guy here is going to, because he's the left player, he's going to have inside leverage or the left side leverage because he is the most left player. This guy's going to have the most outside leverage. And then what's going to happen is this guy's going to have over the top because he's further back. And this guy's going to have underneath because he's the furthest one down. All right, so what I'm going to do is just kind of throw this ball away because I moved everybody so you understand it. Depending on the two players you pick, whoever's the furthest to the left is going to get the left leverage. The guy who's furthest to the right is going to get the right leverage. Whoever's closer is going to get the underneath. Whoever deeper is going to get the over the top. That is where we're going with this, okay? So let's just talk about, okay, I want to take away a corner out here, right? Let me just kind of just get these guys isolated. And so what I want is I want somebody who's going to be underneath to the outside, okay? Well, here we don't have a great look because it's cover 3, right? I mean, cover 2. Say let's go to a different one like it's cover 3 match, right? And here, if you look at it, you're going to see that if I just want outside leverage and I want to go ahead and do this, I'm just going to man up the outside guy, and he's going to have outside leverage, right? But if I want him to have outside and underneath, then in this instance, if you look at my players, let me just do this just for the sake of it. I'm gonna man up somebody that I know for sure is going to do it. It's going to be this guy. Now, it does not matter if you're using this player. It's just you need to get the coding right. So in this instance, I should expect this guy right here to play underneath to the outside, and this guy to play over the top to the inside. All right, so let's go ahead and run this play. This guy's going to get underneath the coverage. And you can see how he absolutely blankets him to the outside, underneath. Okay, that's the way it's going to work. Now, in the same exact play, right? If I wanted to, if I look at this and I say, you know what? I'm going to do the corner out. I'm going to do the same thing. Nothing's changing. And I'm going to man up the A on him and the B, right? Okay, we're just going back to this. Let me just get off of this guy. What you're going to see here is that this guy is going to absolutely fry the A player because he's playing inside leverage now, right? Because he is the left player. So let me just go ahead and show this here. And we'll do this here. And you can see that this guy's going to go to the inside and he gets fried. See how he gets fried? Because he's basically covering inside out. Okay, so that is just kind of the explanation. I want to make sure you understand that from a starting point. Now, what you need to know is your adjustments post breaking the huddle do not make a difference, okay? So let's just talk about something like this, okay? Just because this is going to be something that you guys are going to probably ask or wonder. What if I start in 1-4-6 walk down, okay? And I go ahead and I do something the same thing. Let's just go ahead and call something different so you can see it. I'll just call white corner, right? Well, those guys started up way back here. Like this guy started up way back here and he ends up down here, right? So say he ends up down here. You're like, okay, well, he's my bottom player. He's not. He's actually your top player. Since I moved him, I'm not going to use him as an example, but we're going to use this guy as an example. So if I go ahead and I man him up on the X and this guy on the X, what you should expect is this guy here is the lower player because the safety started up in a different spot, right? So because he's the lower player, Peterson, and he's the outside player, Peterson is going to play underneath to the outside, and this guy is going to play basically to the right, so inside and over the top, okay? So I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to try to take some of these guys off. So if you're having trouble stopping a C route in bunch or a solo receiver C route, if I was to do this, I just basically double man them up with a safety, right? And I'll show you that here. You're going to see that this X is going to be absolutely bagged, right? And why is that? Okay, if you looked at it, because that corner was the outside player and he was the underneath player, he played an underneath outside leverage, right? Look at this guy. He's going to play underneath. See how he's letting the guy go like in cover, like a trail position? And you can see how he goes underneath outside while your 21 here goes ahead and plays basically over the top to the inside. And that's how it works, right? So in a situation like this, let's just go and go to, say, cover 2 sync, right? I'm going to move these guys back to where they were, right? And so this is where, you know, basically the starting spot is, okay? Now, if I wanted to bag this again, I can do this and say, I'm going to hit the X and man him up on him, right? And then what I could do here is, let's just say I want to keep my player over here. It's like, I got to make sure that he's over there. I can go ahead and just say something like this. I can take the safety and man them up, right? I want to make sure you see this. And let's just kind of just, do something to, this is obviously just in theory, and if you wanted to set it up this way. And I'm going to user this guy now because I know, one, he's higher leverage, so he's going to get the over the top because I want this guy to play underneath, right? And because he is to the right, I know that Simmons is going to get the inside leverage, the other guy's going to the outside, but this is going to end up being my user. So if I go ahead and do this, you can see that we took a cover 2 and just did it. The guy's going to get the same thing underneath, and he's going to get basically to the outside, right? It's a C route, whatever the case is. But I want to make sure you see the way that they're going to be bracketing is that this guy is going to go, he's underneath, he's waiting for him, and he's to the outside. Obviously, I do have route tech on that guy, so it's going to be something that, you're not going to win every time, but you see how they basically got bumped, and that's what happened. But this is a scary throw, especially if you click on and go grab this. This is a pick, right? And I wanted to make sure that you understood it. Now, I could do the same thing here, and I say Simmons, right? He started up high. What if I put him over here, right? And I'm saying, okay, now he's low into the outside. And I'm going to man him up. Who do you think has outside leverage, and who do you think has inside leverage, and who do you think has over the top, and who doesn't, right? Since Simmons was supposed to be, basically behind that corner to the inside, he's still going to have over the top leverage to the inside, while the other guy does the opposite, right? So you see here, see underneath, you can see how that worked out, okay? So I wanted to make sure you understood it's not where the player ends. It doesn't matter if I press, it doesn't matter if I show blitz, it's where their starting position is when you call the play, okay? So that's how that works. All right, so what are applications for this, right? We already showed you one when it comes to, why sail, one of the hardest plays to stop, right? When it comes to stopping the tight end route. We showed you how we could easily do this with a player that is lower and to the outside and being able to stop it, right? Now, not all coverages are like that. So like, I'll show you here. If I'm in 3-3 odd, if I call like a cover 2, those guys are going to be at the same level. It's not going to give you that benefit, right? But if I call something like, let's say overload 3 press, let me find it where it is. Where is it? There. Over the 3 press, I'm going to put the nickel cornerback to the same size as the tight end, right? I call that, and what you're going to see is I know that this guy right here is at the 4-yard depth right here, right? I can move him whatever way I want. I'm going to man him on the tight end. I know he's going to play to the outside and low as long as I go ahead and man him up with another player. So let's just say, you know what? I'm going to man him up with Urlacher. He's going to be my user, okay? So now I'm going to user him. I don't have to do it. I just know that that's going to trigger my low and outside. I can do something like, this, where I put this guy on, let's just say, a inside quarter to protect ourselves on, the B route, right? And in this sense, I can go ahead and sprint out and cover the running back if I want. I can do, do anything else that I want on this play, but I just want to make sure that you see this is how we're going to cover this and give ourselves that opportunity. So let's just do this here, hike the ball. I'm going to come down, cover the thing, but you're going to see here how this A route, and I'll go ahead and throw this ball away so you can basically talk about it. This A route right here is basically blanketed by our player Adderley because we know that he's going to get underneath and to the outside. And you can see how he's playing underneath and he's going to go outside. And he's basically just going to blanket this guy in a way that you're going to shut down this route. Obviously, you look at here, my inside quarter got that guy, and then I covered the running back. Just for the sake of this play, I didn't really set anything up over here. But let's just say, for instance, we want to take away this number 17's route as well. We know this is the route combination, and we know that if we do this, this guy is going to get absolutely blanketed, right? So what do, right? So we can do the same thing where we can take this guy, A, put him on this guy. We know that if we double blanket this guy's going to be there. We put this guy on inside quarter, whatever the case is, right? Now, what if we want to make sure that we stop the outside player? We need somebody that has inside leverage, and that's basically lower, right? So if we did something like this, just so, I'm not saying that this is something that you're going to want to gamble on, but let's just say we want to put X, well, it's going to be a little bit tougher in that spot, but let's just say we do this like this. We put the Y on the X, right? And then we just take this X and we put him on a deep third just to help ourselves out. And we could even, man up this on this player, right? But I just want to make sure you see this, right? So if we go ahead and double up this X now, okay, we know that they're going to have the safety is going to play over the top, but he's also going to get inside leverage on him. And then the other guy is going to get basically outside leverage, but he's going to be underneath, right? So we're bracketing him, right? So we do this, we call this, we go over here, we cover this. And now you're going to see how our player is waiting for him and basically going to have the inside path, but he's going to let him get over the top of him, if you see this, right? So if you look at this, he's going to get inside leverage, but because he's playing over the top, you're still going to have that ability. But if you have a guy that's going to be close enough, this is going to make it very, very tough, right? If I wanted to make sure that, you know, I really took this away, right? I could take this X, put him underneath. I'll make sure that I do this here. I take this X, I put him, oh, I can't do it in that play. I take this guy, put him underneath like this, right? And then I go ahead and I put this guy like this, right? Let's just, you know, kind of for the sake of the, you know, what we're doing here, we're assuming that, you know, they're doing something like this. We don't have to worry about the Y going up the field, right? You know, something like that. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side, where we're going to go ahead and double up this A. And we know where we stand here. Where do we stand? We stand that we're going to take away the tight end to the outside and low. We know we're going to take away the guy on the left with a high-low bracketing, but the guy that's the middle linebacker is going to be inside and low. Now, he's going to take a weird angle like cover 2 man, but it's definitely going to give you a much better opportunity. So if I go like this, I go ahead and cover this. Now you can see how this guy's underneath it and basically helping us out in that regard, right? So when you're looking at taking away routes, we showed you how to take away a C route. We showed you how to take a corner route. What if somebody's doing something like trips tight end flex and you want to take away a post, right? You know, like we've got something, I'll just do this out of tray wide flex, right? Let's see if there's any plays that are close to it. Not necessarily, but let's just say we're going to mimic it, right? So let's do something like this where we're calling, I'll call the same play just so that we're, I'll call crossfire 3, right? So say the tight end is on this post route, right? Maybe it's over here, and you're worried about, you know, the motion Y post, right? Where basically, say the Y is going to do the spin back to the middle, you know, so the X is on a streak like this, and then, you know, the B, depending on what they're doing, let's just say that they put this guy on, you know, a drag, whatever. But what you're really worried about is the Y and the A, right? Well, we know that if we want to cover the A low and into the inside, we're going to have to basically bracketed him with somebody on that side, right? So if I do this A and I man coverage to the A like this, right, that, and I double him up with this player here, I know in my mind that if they go ahead, and I'm just going to go ahead and man up, just so you can kind of see it here, man up the RB here, right? So if I know that my responsibility for the tight end is if he goes up the field, I can go ahead and I can cover it. If he breaks to the outside, I got to cover it. But as soon as he goes to the inside, I'm free to go because I've got inside leverage and underneath, and then I can go cover underneath, right? So if I do something like this, where I hike the ball, this guy breaks to the inside. Now I can come over here, but see how we had inside leverage underneath on that post? So by doing this double thing, we're taking away the post. That's all we're saying here. This is what this video is about. How do I take away one receiver to make sure that everything else is easier to cover? This guy does the post, and now I got underneath, inside, so this guy takes this away. I go ahead and I have freedom to roam, basically cover something, and then I've got the ability that I use my zones as my safety valves, right? And you can see how that guy's absolutely bagged because we knew that he was going to play that type of leverage. So this is really what this is about, guys. It's really understanding positioning of your players, which one's going to get the left shading, which one's going to get the right shading, which one's going to get the underneath, which one's going to get the over the top, and how to utilize that to take away a route. And that's as simple as I can give you when it comes to it, right? Like stack by flex, right? You know, if you want to take away a pivot route, right? There are ways that we can, you know, take it away with other, you know, zones and different stuff. But if we know we've got a guy that's going to play underneath to the outside, that's going to give us an opportunity to do it. So let's say we go back to that overload 3 press play, and we want to take away this player. We would man him up with our A, because he's this, and then we want to do somebody that's higher on him and to the inside, so that way we know our user is going to go ahead. Let me just get the semi flat out of the play here. Our user is going to trigger the double bracketing, but the other guy is going to say, you know what, I'm going to cover him underneath to the outside, right? So here we go. He goes underneath, and then basically to the outside. You can see how he basically was I mean, he was blanketed to the point where he kind of changed his route, right? So just so you know, using this concept, understanding what you're doing, can affect your way to cover anything out there that you're struggling and taking one thing away, right? My last thing is level sales, right? People hate level sales a lot, especially when they have a hard time covering the tight end on the corner, whether it's trips tight end, whether it's trips tight end flex. Here's trailer line flex. So let's do something like levels corner, right? If I want to take away that player, let's go into a cover two, right? I just want to make sure, or I want to do cover two. Let's do a buzz Mabel, so I have a safety, so I could explain this to you here. So let's do it like this. I want to take that guy away, right? Let's just say I'm doing something where I'm taking, the A and putting him on that player. But let's just say he's not in the picture, right? Let's do the outside. Same, he's over here. We're doing the outside player, right? And I'm going to take this this A and motion and do him on this. I'm going to take my user and go on this. So now my user is this player, right? I got the whole left side covered. If I see that once the tight end breaks to the right, I can cover because I know my guy is going to go underneath to the outside. So I'm looking here. Once he breaks, now I can go over here and see how the A, if you look at him, the leverage on him, we didn't have to worry about it. Once he broke, I can go do because we know that this guy's going to play underneath to the outside. So right here, I'm making sure I'm deep. Once I see that he breaks, now I can go anywhere I want because our guy is going to do basically this where there is no place for them because of our leverage. So hopefully you guys got a understanding and I taught it well enough to have you be able to implement this in your own strategies. I showed you a couple different ways that I like to use it. And Pickham has done a great job with our defensive game plan, so he shows it in in those ways in how we do a lot of the meta stuff. So if you guys want to check that out, definitely look at our website. We have a meta buster that we've taught this. We're going to show you, more applications in the future. But I wanted to at least give you guys a good understanding of who we are, why we lab the way we do, why we simplify the game for you, and give you the solutions that you're figuring. Because at the end of the day, we want to make the game more fun for you. And the more you know, the more success you have, the more you understand why things are happening and how to counter it. That gives you that sense of understanding that does make the game better. And that's what we're about at Huddle. So appreciate you guys. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this or you learned something. And we will see you on the next video.